Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I worked out this morning. It's now late morning and I'm about to have some lunch and drink some water. And I'm gonna braid my hair, and then I have a project that I wanted to do. I found some sprouting potatoes underneath my sink, so I figured I got some grow bags. I'm gonna plant those up and see if I can grow them inside my apartment. I'll stick them by the window. I figured I have them sprouting, might as well see what I can do with them. I've never done that before. And there's also another thing I wanted to do that I got some seeds in for. So I'm gonna eat my lunch and I'll be back.
One of those things that our attention is just ever more being depleted, and we have to work harder to be able to stay focused. If you are an adult with ADD, this problem can be even more, compounded. So being able to focus on one task at a time is actually benefiting you and helping you to not waste so much time. If you intensely focus on one thing, you are more likely to get way more done than if you try to do multiple things at once. For people who work outside the home, that this kind of strategies for focus.
Let's go. Come on. All right, there's been a little bit of a change of events. I just got a message from an apartment I'm about to look at this afternoon that she's available earlier. So I got ready for the day and I'm gonna go check out that apartment and then I'll come back and do that planting. All right, we're back from that apartment. I loved it. I told her I'd sign it, and I talked to my landlord here and said that I would be moving out in the end of April. So I did some more research on planting potatoes, and the consensus is that store-bought potatoes are not great to plant if they sprout. However, I didn't buy them for that purpose. They just sprouted. So I figured, let me plant them and see if they grow. I need to cut them and let them dry, or like the edge crust over. So I'm going to be doing that today, and then I'll plant them tomorrow. I also need to find some trays for my grow bags, because what I have as a saucer of sorts to collect water, because I'm doing them inside right now, are too small. These are the potatoes that have sprouted underneath my sink. So I am just going to chop them off. I've never done this before. And then set them by the window to harden off. And I'm gonna cut out some of these eyes that I'm not sure if they will grow, because I guess store-bought tomatoes are sprayed with something to prevent them from forming eyes. All right, so I'm just gonna let those dry on the windowsill till tomorrow. I've never done this before, but I figured why not try it? So next thing I have is this cool little sprout kit. This was my mom, she got it for fun, and she likes sprouts and they're super easy to grow. I'm gonna soak these alfalfa sprouts overnight, and then I'm going to put them in that little container tomorrow that's meant for sprouting sprouts. And we'll see how it goes. Now, I'm not really sure how many sprouts to put in, but let's see, maybe I should measure to have an idea. You think this is too many? This is probably too many. For my first time, maybe I'll start with a half a tablespoon. I have no idea how much water, how many seeds. So I started with a half a tablespoon. It looks like that packet has about 2 tablespoons in it, maybe a little bit more than 2 tablespoons of these alfalfa sprouts. So I went with a half because I didn't want to have too many. I'd rather have too little because these will sprout in just a couple of days. So here I just covered them with, I don't know, a cup of water. And in a couple of hours, if it looks like they need more water or a different container, then I'll adjust. But otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow when I go to finish off these 2 projects. All right, it's the next day now. I went to Walmart and got this 12-inch tray here. I'm putting it inside this box. I lined it with some plastic so that hopefully we don't have any water damage inside because the bag's a little bit bigger. But I'm going to fill it with some potting mix and a little bit of vermiculite because I believe that it needs a little bit more of a well-draining soil. And I didn't get any potato fertilizer. I guess potatoes are heavy feeders of potassium, so I might pick some of that up and just water it in. I might pick some of that up and water it in. But here we go. All right, so I put about 6 inches or so into here. See that down there? I have these potatoes that I left on the windowsill overnight, and they've browned up but dried out a little bit. I'm not sure about these other ones that have some eyes. They've all been sprayed from the grocery store with inhibitors from growing eyes, but I figured these ones grew quite a bit, so let's plant them and see what happens. I'll put these ones further apart, and then I'm not gonna put all these in. I'll throw some of the ones with more decent eyes growing. I might just plant those 4 and see how it goes. The eyes that are forming are supposed to be up, and then I'm going to cover that. I should have mixed in some vermiculite underneath. Although they said compost. You know what, I'm just gonna leave it with a lot of the videos I watched said to mix in some compost, which I did not bring up. I kind of wish I did. So I'm just gonna leave. This is a good potting mix. It's got some fertilizer in there. This is what I used, Miracle Grow Organics container mix. And I'm just gonna pour some more on to cover them up a couple of inches so that this is completely covered. All right, I covered them up, and I'm just gonna water it. Oh, I love this cute little watering can, but it always wants to come out that top hole if I water too fast. Start with that, let it absorb, see how it goes. Oh, getting water everywhere. This guy always wants to be on the other side of the door. It's not even cold out. We're moving soon, you know, and you're not gonna have an option to go outside because we're not gonna have a deck. I wish he understood, but he doesn't. So that will give me a good indication of whether sprouted potatoes from the grocery store can sprout at all. I'm interested to see if the ones that are sprouted well actually grow potatoes, but because I just put 4 in there and 2 were barely sprouted, it will just give me good information, you know, for the future, what's worth my time. So over here in the kitchen, I have my alfalfa sprouts. They've gelled. I thought they were gonna expand a lot more. They've just gelled up a little bit. And so we'll see how those go. Hopefully they don't fall through the cracks in this little sprouter here. And these were sitting overnight. They didn't expand like I thought they were going to. I thought they were gonna be like chia seeds, I guess. But they just like gelled up a little bit. So we'll see if they fall through the cracks in this sprouter over here. So what it says to do is to pour these over the clear trays. Oh, they're not falling through, so that's good. Well, there we go. Adding extra water to see if I can loosen them from the jar. Okay. It says to rinse these under like the tap, but since I just added all that extra water to try to rinse them from the jar, I kind of just did that. Now I have a lot more on top than I do down here. Some fell through, but those are probably the ones that were floating in the jar and didn't like really interact with water much. So I'm gonna dump the water from the base with all those extra seeds that fell through. I actually just poured the seeds right back in. All right, I'm gonna put this on top. It's funny because when you do something for the first time, at least for me, I'm always like, oh, am I doing it right? I used to feel like that about sourdough. I'm sure these are gonna sprout just fine. And you're supposed to rinse them every day to prevent mold, I guess. Rinse them even once they start sprouting. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be growing them all the time because it's super easy. But I'm always like worried about, is there too many seeds? Is there not enough seeds? So that's why I kind of went what I think was low on the seed amount. But I measured them, as you saw yesterday. It's a half a tablespoon of alfalfa sprouts. So we'll see how much it yields. One other thing that I'm growing right now are these succulents. So what happened was these were planted, I thought a great centerpiece for all of these succulents that were all grown from propagation of their leaves was to put this in the center. I saw it at Home Depot. I thought it would be a great centerpiece for these succulents, but what happened is that they all struggled to reach light. So they were all getting super leggy. So what I did was I clipped them all down, broke off a bunch of leaves, and we are going to try to repropagate them again. So there's more growth here, and there's some little like florets or whatever. But we'll see. So right now they're dry, they're getting their like crust or whatever, and they're starting to root. In a couple of days I'll water them and see what we can do there. I did fertilize them. I got a succulent fertilizer, so hopefully that will help. But yeah, that succulent is gonna have to have some type of different arrangement or just be a solo arrangement because it was blocking the sunlight from getting to my other succulents. They just need to get bigger probably, and then I could pot them with something like that. So over here I have all of my seed starting stuff. I've decided to not stay here past the end of April, just due to the price of rent. I can save quite a bit of money by moving. It's a very small place. It's not ideal, but what's ideal is finding my own property and saving up for a good down payment. So I will be moving here in just over a month and a half. So I'm trying to decide where I should start my seeds. I really wanted to start them here so I could watch the progress, take off the, you know, the humidity domes when they needed to be, but I'll be moving them so shortly and far before the last frost when they need to go in the ground. So I'm wondering if I should just plant them all at my parents' house instead of moving them. It would probably alleviate some stress. And that's only an hour away, so I can go check on them often. My little plants, my plant babies. So that means that I gotta move all of this bootstrap stuff, and I had brought soil up here, which was great because I was able to up pot that big succulent with some succulent soil that I had here, and you know, work on those other succulents and things, and the potatoes. I can easily move that. But yeah, that's where I'm, because I have to bring in some more stuff for seed starting. Wire shelving that I have to bring up from Massachusetts. I was gonna bring it here, but really then that's just more that I have to move out of here, and it's quite a bit of furniture that I gotta move regardless, and it's an apartment building. So I think I'm going to just, the plants are gonna end up at my parents' house. That's where I'm gonna do my container gardening. So I think I'm just gonna do the seeds starting there too, even though I really wanted to do it where I was staying. But you know, that's what happens with this season. It's like nothing is ideal. And so you kind of just have to roll with the punches. I mean, that's life in general, but I'm glad that I can even do any gardening. I'm glad that my parents have a place that I can, you know, do some containers and things like that. Because if I was bouncing around apartments, I wouldn't be able to do that anyway. All right, I'm off to the gym. I have work tonight. It's my last 3 night shifts for a while. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.